joining me today. And today I'm going to talk about UI, how to create UI system inside Unity. Okay, so let's start. First, I will share with you some basic concept in UI in Unity. And second, I will start doing some simple demos about it. Okay, so this is something like today's demo. You create a canvas inside 3D space, and you can see another one. Those two. Yeah, the screen one. Okay, so let's do 2D and press play. Okay, so this is the the field. It's whatever your size is, right? No matter what, whatever the size of your screen is, it will kind of do the responsive design and fill out the entire screen. Okay, so this is something that we are going to talk about is the UI design in Unity. Okay, so let's start. First, I want to share with you some little concepts about UI. Okay, thank you for joining me today. Today's Unity workshop number 4, UI. Okay, so first, canvas. When you create a UI in Unity, first you have to create a canvas. A canvas is a basic building block for a UI, and all the UI elements are contained within the canvas. All the UI elements will be the child objects of the canvas, otherwise they will disappear, which means that Unity won't render any UI elements outside of canvas. Okay, so Text Mesh Pro. First, I would suggest you to download Text Mesh Pro TMP, because if you download and export and use TMP, the text will be much better, looks much better, and you can stylize it and it will look really sharp, crystal clear compared with the default text inside Unity UI system. So yeah, so definitely download Text Mesh Pro and use Text Mesh Pro instead of the default text. Another one is that if you happen to export any image, when you import into Unity, remember to go to texture type, inspector, texture type, and change from default to Sprite, 2D, and UI. In that case, this PNG file can be inserted in UI. So yeah, remember to do this before you kind of apply to your UI. Event system. Okay, so when you create a canvas, you can see there will be an event system being generated. Let's take a deep look about event system. If you see the picture, event system allows users to interact with the UI by pressing buttons or dragging elements. Okay, so for example, you want to interact with the UI, right? And for example, you can do horizontal axis, vertical axis, and you can press the button, right? All those stuff is, you need event system for you to interact the UI. So remember, if you have a canvas, you need to have event system or something equivalent to event system that can trigger the UI. Okay, so for the UI system, for the screen, there are 3 types of screen mode or rendering mode. First one is called screen space overlay. Okay, so this means that once you click this mode, the UI will extend the entire screen. For example, if you use phone, if you use your MacBook Pro, or your desktop, your tablet. This will if you enable this mode, this will fill the entire screen. So the entire screen, and you won't see anything behind it. For example, if you create a world, right, and you create a screen space overlay UI, it means that it's just like it will be the top layer and it will fill out the entire screen. You will never see anything under, like behind it, which is good. For example, if you want to create a mobile game or a game right on the desktop, at the beginning you have a home page, right? And for people to, for example, like choose play or go to continue or quiz settings, credit, like at the home page, you have some stuff for people to choose. That is great for, to apply the screen space UI. So this random mode places UI elements on the screen rendered on the top of the screen. If the screen is resized or change the resolution, the canvas will automatically change the size to match the screen. Yeah, so this screen space overlay is very, very good for, fill the entire screen, and the only thing you need to do is to interact the screen. It draws over the top of everything on the screen. So this will be on the top because it's rendered by the screen. And the UI in the overlay mode has no relationship to the object in the world because it's not rendered by a camera. So it means that on the screen, you only see this, right? And you can tap it, you can interact everything here, but there's nothing related to world, any 3D object or anything. It's just, like a filled entire screen, and then there's some stuff like basic stuff, and you can interact. So that's screen space overlay. The second one is screen space camera. This will be a little bit flexible. It means that it's kind of like a render by camera, so it has a little bit perspective, right? And you can feel it, or you can like adjust some stuff. But basically, it's a little similar to screen overlay, but there are some stuff you can adjust. For example, UI is rendered by the camera of your choice, and the object can pass through the UI, which means that if you see that I put a cube in front of the UI, so you can see not only you can see the UI, but also you can have a cube in front of the UI because it's rendered by camera, right? And the lighting can affect the UI, so which means that you can adjust the light and slightly change the mood of the UI system. And UI stays in a fixed position related to the camera. It means that the UI will be in a fixed position. And then, for example, you can always adjust the field of view in order to see like the different perspective of your UI or your 3D object. And if the camera is set to perspective, the UI elements will be rendered with perspective. Okay, so the third one will be world space. World space means that you put your UI in the 3D space, and this UI will be treated as one of the 3D object. Imagine, for example, in the real world, you read a book, right? And the text is on the book. So similar to that, imagine there's a card inside the 3D space. You got a Christmas card and you hold on the hand. So that is similar to world space. It's treated as part of a 3D object. So canvas will behave as another object in the 3D space. The size of the canvas can be set manually using the rect transform. Later on, I will show you what's that. Rect transform basically is the kind of like in 3D object, right? 3D object, you can use transform to change the size of it to move around. But in UI, it use rec. Rec means rectangular transform. Okay, so and then UI elements will render in front of or behind other objects in the same base 3D placement. For example, you see like I place this UI behind the cube, so you see like some part of the UI being cut, right? So it's just like part of it. It will be treated as one of the 3D object. Okay, so I think okay. So as for UI rendering order, it's button to the top, which means that if you want to start rendering stuff, right? It's like, for example, in outside of the canvas system, it's from top to the bottom. It's like whatever you put on the top will be, rendered, right? But render first. But whatever here you put on the bottom will be rendered first. For example, like text, the XReality Academy will be rendered first, and then the second one will be all the buttons inside the container, right? And then image, the background. Okay, so UI rendering order inside the canvas is button to top. Okay, so yeah, if you want to join our membership, feel free to go to XReality Academy and go to Platinum membership and sign up, and you can get access to all the future events and watch all the previous event videos. Okay, so these are the today's the keynote intro. Okay, so let's dive into the real sample. So you can see like I create a bunch of it before I recorded the video. Okay, so the interesting thing is that we can toggle this, right? When we do UI, it's likely you will press this 2D mode because it's so easy, to just see the 2D and manipulate it instead of trying to bring the 3D perspective. It's hard to, use like 3D mode. Okay, and then this one, this square, right? This is the UI icon for you to move around. So we will use those two, the 2D and this one. Okay, so let's create a canvas first. Okay, this canvas first, I want to set it a screen overlay. Okay, so screen overlay, right? And this is the canvas. So in Unity, you can, in one scene, you can have different canvas, but only one event system, right? Different canvases. And you can definitely have different cameras, but I will only use one. Okay, so canvas. So here, right, screen, yeah, so render mode, I just introduce you the screen space overlay, screen space cameras, and workspace. Basically, this one is the limited, right? And this one is somewhere in between. You can do a little bit of perspective, you can do a little bit of lighting, you can do a little bit 3D object in the front, but basically this one is between the world space and the screen space. And the world space is pretty much you put the UI inside the world. So yeah, so overlay, you can put this, right? And usually I just leave everything there. Okay, so when I create this, right, I usually create, you create something. I would like to create an image. Okay, so yeah, so you kind of double tap here, right? And you can see the image. Image is here. Okay, so let's talk about here. Inspect image, right? Maybe I change to BG. So imagine, so pretty much in UI, the bottom one render first and the top one render later. So yeah, so you can see. Okay, so this is kind of like the anchor perspective. Usually I would do this. Yeah, go here. Oh, go here. Eh? What? Eh? Oh, okay. Okay, image, right? You can see this. This means that it's in the center. But if I press this, it's like totally filled, right? And what you need to press is Option and Shift. This is if you press Option, this will fill entire, you know, the rag, right? And then if you press the Shift, it will fill the entire things out. So usually you can press Option or Shift, kind of play around with it. I would say that it takes a long time to figure out what's going on for the UI. So if you don't know what's going on, it's totally fine. Okay, so what I would do is like that. Yeah, just like fill everything out. You can put the sprite, right? For example, like previously I said that if you import an image, you can go here and change to sprite to demo. For example, if you put here, let's see. Yeah, yeah, you can definitely put this, right? And this one you can, you know, like, yeah, you need to make it wide so you can see the image. Okay, so this is the image one, but you can also take it out, make it none, right? Yeah, so it's up to you. So this is image. Okay, so what I will do is I want to create a container. Usually I create an empty and say container. Okay, so inside this container, I want to do some layout stuff. So this one, you can, you know, like, yeah, just make it, I don't know, you do kind of whatever you like. And what I would do is something like this. I mean, you can do something like this. Means that the rack, it means the, you know, I would say, usually I like to fill out the whole thing. So I press Option here, Option and Shift. Oh, okay. So yeah, yeah, this is too big. Okay, so maybe here, right? And then I will start making the container something like this, and maybe make this the yeah, maybe something like this, and yeah, you can play around with it and then start with this. It means that this will prioritize the spacing between this edge to here. So this is the anchor, means that no matter, it's for a responsive design. So for example, if everything push, you know, like this will kind of like using this as an anchor to resize. So anchor will be this dot. You can use, you know, like make this anchor, you know, more like, you know, like fill this out, but I think this is kind of fine. Okay, so this one, and what I will do is I will add an element which is related to layout. You go to layout, you go to vertical layout group. What does this mean? It means that it will kind of like stack your elements, UI elements in a vertical way. So what I would do is spacing 5, which means that all the elements will have 5, you know, 5 for their spacing. Okay, so child alignment, I usually do the center. Yeah, and what I like to do is to, you know, fill out the child for entire space. So yeah, this will be default because, you know, you don't want everything to look small, but yeah, but this is what I like. So whatever I create, for example, like I create button, I like text mesh pro, right? We just talk about that. Oh, okay, this is probably a little too, yeah, so, yeah, okay, so we can have a bunch, right? One, ooh, so, okay, yeah, so maybe at the beginning we don't, yeah, we just do this, upper center. Okay, so we just, you need to play around with all the parameters, because sometimes things will go differently than you think, so you might need to adjust it. For example, like I want the child align upper center instead of middle center, and I want to uncheck this, and later on maybe I check it again. So yeah, so I will start creating some buttons. Yeah, this button, right? And I want to create a bunch. Yeah, the interesting thing is that it will, start doing the alignment, right? And since I do this, and it will align from upper center, or I would say maybe from mid center. Yeah, from mid center. It's like, like, or you want to lower left, right? Or lower right. It's very interesting to just see all the adjustment, right? So yeah, maybe I can make it 2. Yeah, so so you can do this, or 5 or 10, right? It's very, very convenient. Okay, so let's take a look. So those are the buttons, and they line up perfectly well. Or you can adjust, the container and move around, right? So it will look really, really nice, organized. Yeah, okay, so button, right? Maybe play, right? You can change the text. The second one, maybe continue. Yeah, the third one will be, I don't know, I don't know, settings. Fourth one, quit. This one, maybe some credits. Something, yeah, you can change stuff, but this is the how UI creates, right? And you can also create, for example, like what I want to create is another text. Yeah, if you create this, you can write XReality Academy, right? Academy. You can bold it, right? And you can create 60. Yeah, so it's, yeah, you kind of wanna play around the size and all the position inside this, or 72. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, so this is something. Yeah, so you can see those, right? If you want to change, hover over or anything, right? You can go here. Oh, highlight color. What highlight you want? Maybe a little green, I don't know. And what's press? Maybe really green, right? Maybe select, maybe yellow. Yeah, you can play around. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, and then press. Yeah, so you can see all the, yeah. Yeah, all the different colors. So you can adjust here. It's here. Go to button and go to